Hey, Mary Fisk-Taylor.
Hi, Kira Derryberry.
I'm
Finally.
I'm gonna do our intro, but for those who were waiting on us,
Yeah.
thank you for your patience. Okay,
Yes.
here's our intro for everyone. This is how we record. Welcome to Get Your Shoot Together, the photographer's podcast where we discuss studio, business, life, and keeping it all in line. I am Kira Derryberry.
And I am Mary Fisk Taylor.
All right, we made it.
And we are social distancing like a champ.
We are, and then just like 15 minutes ago, the mayor of our town just shut our town down as of tomorrow. So we're broadcasting from the bunker, and as such, we had some issues. I had some issues getting everything set up. Look, there's Dan.
I see Steely Dan in the background. That's if he knocks, we're gonna have to let him in for sure.
He never gets to come in here because I've always got it off limits. So. All right. Well, I'm going to go check ourselves out on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So, how was your day?
Well, my day was maybe better than your day. I know you actually had some.
I had a good day up until just now.
Yeah. No, it's fine. You know, I'm well. I think I'm fine. I'm kind of, today's been a little bit of a more challenging day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, trying to wrap my head around everything and it's a lot on me. And today is a lot. Today's been a lot. I'm not really sure. I was feeling a lot more positive yesterday. So I don't know.
I was feeling, and we promised that we wouldn't like go over our feelings every time we talk, but like seriously, this morning I was feeling kind of panicky, and then I got this great call from the news station here in town. Apparently, the thing that you and I are doing and talking about, the stay-at-home photography series that I launched for my clients, that sort of started taking off yesterday and the day before. And the Council for Arts, they picked it up yesterday in Tallahassee, Coca. And then apparently they were being interviewed for a news story for tonight, and they suggested that they should come and interview me.
I love it. That is so cool. And you posted that resource on the blog, right? So people can see what you're talking about. It's already up there.
I did. And I tried to put on ours, and you can't see it because I know you're trying not to be distracted by your own face, like on the thing. Yeah. But on the bottom of our broadcast here, I have a link to getyourshoottogether.com/blog, which is where you and I are posting all of the resources that we are designing for this time. So, but that project was something that you and I'm getting all of our times where we talked cross because we've talked on so many different panels and stuff. Mm-hmm. But that one was a project where I created like a stay-at-home iPhoneography type project for my clients, and I marketed it out to them, and trying to get them to do the project at home and then post it online and tag me and so on and so forth. And so it got picked up by like a kind of like what to do with your kids when they're home sort of thing. And that worked out great. So if you want to know more about that, head over to our website and I itemize exactly how I did all that.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really took the ball and ran with that. It's really cool. I think we talked about that with Angela Kirkian on the PPA webinar.
There you go. I couldn't remember which one we talked about it.
Friday. Yeah, Friday. I kind of threw it in and by the way, we're going to launch this. And then Kira just took the ball and ran with it. And I'm like, well, no, I'm just going to copy what she did because I had the idea but hadn't started it yet. So you did such a great job. And it's cool. And, it's just that whole idea of spreading, giving some valuable, savable content to, your followers and your clients and your community, and giving them a way to, to something to do at home, because we're all a little stir crazy. And I imagine if you have kiddos and you're trying to homeschool and negotiate all that, it can be very challenging. And it's just great. It's great little, branding for your business.
Yeah, a little brand awareness never hurt anyone. So that's a good thing. So and it was a great thing. So yesterday, yesterday, I don't know, to relieve stress, I decided I'm going to clean the backyard. I'm going to spray wash, the entire back patio. I'm going to clean everything out. I'm not going to work today. I'm just going to clean up, just compelled to. And then midday, I'd say, I'm sitting down to take a break, and Kevin brought me some lunch, and we're sitting outside, and he goes, when somebody is trying to tell you there's a bug on you, and instead instead of just getting up quietly and getting the bug off of you, they say, don't move.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So that's what he did to me. So,
because that's what I would do. I'd say, hey, don't move. That's what I would do. I think that's a nicer way than just going in and getting the bug.
Here's what I do.
But maybe not for you.
No, I just did this to my friend Addie the other day. She had a spider on her, and I didn't tell her. I just got up and got the spider off of her.
Okay, that's how you would handle it. I mean, I think it's a tomato. So
there may or may not have been a bee on my back. And I didn't want to chance that because the don't move. And so I bolted to the back of my yard. I threw my phone. I ripped my hat off because I had a hat on, because we don't want to get sunburned outside. And I also stripped my shirt
in the backyard.
In the backyard.
And when she threw her phone, it accidentally texted me and Angela her location.
Yeah.
So if that bee had killed her, we knew where to find the body, is what really just happened.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Because he's screaming, stop moving. He keeps screaming it at me. And so then I thought it must still be on me. That's what I thought.
So him saying don't move was a trigger for you to run as fast as you can and take your clothes off in the backyard.
Yeah.
That was a trigger.
That was an impulse that I had. And so I am standing in the back of the yard by the fence in my bra. And Kevin has now walked casually down the hill picks up my shirt. And then we discover that my phone has sent you my location. It did.
Which was really awesome. And I was like, well, that's awfully kind of her. I don't know why Angela and I need to know where she is right now, but good to know, just in case. And so anyway, so that was your big day yesterday. Yeah. So today today you were interviewed to be on your local.
Well, thank gosh I cleaned and pressure washed the backyard because the backyard looks amazing on camera.
Yes, it did. And it looks beautiful. So you guys can, I'm sure Kira will post some of those pictures. Are they on your personal page?
I put them on my personal, but I'll share them to ours. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really awesome. It was really, really cool. And, we talk a lot about public relations. And I mean, this is the best kind of PR you can ask for because it's just got such a great baseline to it and foundation. And it's just such a great project. And it's not marketing at all. It's just really nice branding and public PR.
It feels organic. And what's funny? Our friend Gregory Daniel, who we need to mention, of course. I texted you and him separately that, like, oh my gosh, the news is coming, I don't know. They just called out of nowhere. And he texted me back, really? Out of nowhere? And I think what he's implying, and this is at least how I took it, was, you're right. It's actually not, it feels out of nowhere, but I've made efforts to put this out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And when it got picked up by the Arts Council, that was what it was doing what it was supposed to be doing, which is just organically reaching the masses. And so out of nowhere feels a little, I didn't call them
strong.
Feels strong. But I should I be surprised? No. I shouldn't be surprised if that happened because
well, I think that your surprise comes from the fact that there's usually so much noise and so much information that to filter through it and actually get noticed, it's not easy. So it's good for you for working so hard and being top of mind.
Top of mind.
For the Art Council to mention you.
There you go. That's what it is.
Yes.
All right.
Well, you know what, Kira? I got a message from somebody the other day, and as you know, I love to read, and I'm constantly reading books and talking about books. And this person just kind of said, hey, why don't you start talking about it? Because I know I'm not going to read the books. I mean, I love that you think I'm going to read them, but could you just give me a rundown?
Was this person me?
And it actually wasn't you, but I thought it was. The tone was similar to you. So it was Cindy Crawford is her name. And she's like, just, this is, you talk about, you obviously post a lot about them. Just maybe every once in a while, just give us a little rundown. So I've been thinking about having way before we ever had Get Your Shit Together. If I'd ever had a podcast, it would have been me talking about books that I love. So instead of, reinventing the wheel here, I thought, well, got some time on my hands. Maybe we can talk about some books. So today I've chosen a book to talk about.
Lay it on me.
I'm going to do it. So I thought that this was a really great book to discuss right now. And it's called Better Than Before, Mastering the Habits of Our Everyday Lives. It's Gretchen Rubin is the author's name. She's amazing. She has another book called The Happiness Project and other things. But it's a great book. And the title alone, Better Than Before, just resonated with me today when I was trying to choose what book to talk about. And just FYI, tonight or tomorrow on the blog, I'll kind of share my summary in a written form as well. But I thought we could talk about that today, if that's cool with you.
I think that's a great idea. In fact, what I'm doing right now is for our audience who's watching us live, I'm looking up the link to this.
Yeah.
So
you know me, I love to recommend if you have a local bookstore to use it, but that's not an option right now. So Amazon's a great choice for this book and any books, since we can't go out and have a little latte at our local bookstore and support local businesses. So you're going to put that on there. I will talk to you about this book. Like I said, I think it's timely. We're all navigating this time that we're in. I think it's important to concentrate on things that we can master. And, breaking habits and creating new habits for our life is something that we have full control over. I think in a time when we have so little control over what feels like everything, and it's not everything, but what feels like an overabundance of things we don't have control over, this is something that we can control. So, we talk a lot about this amazing gift of time we've been given, and now's the time to, work, on our businesses, engage with our family, friends, and clients, but also work on ourselves. So I think that this book by Gretchen Rubin is very timely. So
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I know. So, something about habits that's absolutely true is people use habits to change their days and shape their lives, right? That's a major point that she uses all through the book. And she recommends that we use habits to create a roadmap to an improved life. And we're going to go through some of those steps. But, to get your life under control, you have to institute habits that you want to implement. And you need to try to eliminate the ones that you don't want recurring and as part of your life. She defines a habit as behavior that's recurrent, is cued by a specific context, often happens without much awareness or conscientious intent, which is true, and is acquired through frequent repetition. That's her definition of a habit. So with this in mind, I think that this is something I've never really thought about it. And when I was kind of scanning the book today, I was like, wow, that's actually really smart. You only have to make a decision one time for a habit. Now, the repetition and the constant occurrence and all those things, that's either innate or it becomes, you get into a habitual routine, but you only have to decide one time. So you could decide that, let's talk on my business, because we could talk about, being healthier or meditating or, losing weight or exercising or whatever. But if we try to focus on our businesses, you only have to decide one time that you are going to start using additive light.
Okay.
You only have to make that decision once.
Right.
Now, then you have to institute it. We'll go through some processes of how, you create that habit, but you decide that. Or maybe you make a decision that you are not going to discount anymore. You're going to make a habit that I'm not going to, every time I get scared or I get panicky in the sales room, I'm going to not just revert to, well, I'll cut my prices or I'll do this. These are habits that we actually find ourselves using in doing a lot in our businesses, I think.
Okay. Because things are coming to mind for me,
Yeah.
But when you started talking, I thought, a habit to make sure that I take vitamins every day, or a habit to make sure that I, I'm thinking of healthy habits and that sort of thing. But you're actually saying that, we can create habits in our business. You're right. All of the, I made a choice to use off-camera flash a long time ago, and it became a habit, so much so that I didn't really use natural light much anymore. And I never thought of it as a habit, but it is.
It is a habit.
Yeah.
But you have to work at it, right? When you first chose to start incorporating a more dynamic lighting into your work, you made that decision, but you didn't have to make the decision again. Mm-hmm. See, the decision-making process is done, so check, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's, creating processes and instituting, instituting things that are going to help you get there or keep you from going there again, whatever it is. With our finances, and I'll talk about this later as well, but we make decisions to be fiscally responsible or not. Mm-hmm. Whether you practice profit first or, you make a decision that I'm going to post at least 3 times a week. That's a decision that you can make and a habit you can create. Mm-hmm. Or on the opposite end, you say, I'm not going to just post anymore without intent. I'm going to plan my posts. So these are all habits we can really, work on. And I put, what are some habits in your business you'd like to create? And what are some that you would like to eliminate? And, for me, it's certainly the financial, being more fiscally responsible. I made a decision to do that. And I've created a plan and gauges and measurements to make sure it happens. But can you think of anything like that you want in your business or something you don't want anymore in your business?
Well, one of the things that we've talked about before that's a goal for me to set up is, being a better communicator with my clients as far as sending out those thank you notes and being more intentional with, showing more gratitude. And I think, creating those client gifts and creating my, the handwritten letters and that sort of thing, like all that is something that I have to make a habit because it's not something that you know what I mean? Like I have this good intention, but I actually have to do it. So does she say how many times, is it the kind of thing where you have to do it so many times before it's a habit?
There's different rules of thumb on that. I mean, some people say that if you do something for a certain period of time, it becomes a habit. Some people say so many times. I think it's a very personal decision, but if you make the decision to do it and for me, I like to write it down or schedule it or, what have you. Or, like, for example, last year you said, I don't want to just at the end of the year be rushed and just like throwing out all these client gifts. You know what I mean? Like just kind of, I'm going to be more intentional.
That was a dumpster fire.
I want to do them as I go. Because I said, well, I don't do that anymore because I just gift as I go. Mm-hmm. So when I'd made that decision, I just had to make sure that it was part of my process that after each order at whatever dollar amount it was that, I qualified that the gift went out. It became a part of my process. Mm-hmm. So at first I had to write it down and then it just became a habit. I automatically get the thank you note and do the gift. I don't even think about it anymore because it's such a habit. Mm-hmm. But I had to. Habits are something that you have to, you have to create a lot of different, you have to create different steps for you to be able to follow habits. And I'll go through some that she recommends. Okay. But, something that she says that self-knowledge is so important when you're developing habits because, we all are different, right? And we all are going to embrace and deal with habits differently, whether we're trying to break them or we're trying to create them. And she talks about there being upholders, questioners, obligers, and rebels. Okay. And I think we all can identify a little bit with all of these, but at the bottom of it, I think we're all kind of one or the other. And I can almost already guess what you are. I know I'm probably the same. But upholders are the ones that they just kind of obey the rules. They feel comfortable with their own rules. They feel comfortable with other people's rules, and they just kind of fall in line and follow the rules.
Okay, that doesn't feel like me.
No, that doesn't feel like you at all. Mm-mm. Questioners will not agree to comply until after their queries have been addressed. They will follow the rules, they will obey the rules, but they need to get their questions answered and resonate with it and be okay with it in order to follow those rules. However, if their questions are not answered appropriately or to their liking, they are likely to not adapt or follow those rules. I feel like that's more you and I because I will question something, sometimes to death, I'm sure, that people on the other end feel like. But I'm not going to just accept things because I need to either ask questions or I need to research it myself or I need, social proof or I need something to make changes.
You need to see evidence, you need to see research, and you need to have it proven to you.
Right. Like if you said, Mary, you're going to have the best sales in the world if you use Constant Light. I'm not going to just take, even though I respect you as a professional, you're a master craftsman photographer, you're in all those things. I'm not just going to take your word for that. I'm going to need to practice that, ask questions about it, get more opinions on it. That's just who I am as a person. I'm definitely a questioner. So obligers they're just the people pleasers. They kind of, on the baseline, just accept everything, but their inner habit is that they kind of struggle. Meaning, okay, obligers will take your rule. They want to just be told what to do.
Okay.
They have a really hard time with self-improvement and finding that inner journey to make things their own or to find the right fit for them. They just kind of, they're not the upholders, meaning the upholders understand the rules and follow the rules and create their own. An obliger is just kind of I'm not saying everybody's okay with what they are, but they don't really kind of work on their own rules or their own path or their own journey.
Okay, so sense? Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you this, because I like to visualize who this person. I mean, I'm not thinking of a particular person, but I like to think about the type of person. So like an obliger, they're looking for more of like a quick fix, right? Exactly. Or like they're looking for a formula or just tell me how to do it, tell me what to do. I'll follow the line, whatever it is you say, I'll do it. I just don't want to have to come up with it on my own.
It's me anytime I have to do anything with this podcast or technology. I am definitely...
You are an obliger on this podcast.
No,
yes.
I'm just like, okay, just tell me what to do. I don't need to research what kind of mic to get. I don't need to research that. Just, Kira, you tell me what to do. I'm a total obliger when it comes to that. 100%.
Yeah.
That gives you an example of...
So you can be, I'm sorry if I keep going on tangents or whatever, but like you can, by that logic... you can be different ones. You can play these different roles in different areas 100%. Of your life.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we all do. I mean, because the next one is rebel, and they're like outliers. They don't like to follow any of the rules or expectations. They kind of want to do their own thing, and they usually resist any external control, suggestions, thoughts. There are probably certain things in my life that and as I get older, I'm getting better, but certainly at times in my life and probably now and going forward, there's just certain things I'm going to dig my heels in and I'm going to be a rebel about. And being a rebel is okay, because if you have very dedicated beliefs or thoughts about something in particular, maybe it's religion, politics, how to plant grass in the front yard. I mean, whatever it is, your photography. If I'm really just dead set on that, I'm going to be a rebel and probably resist most of what I hear. Like if everybody's jumping on a bandwagon, I may not. You know what I mean? Now I could also be wrong. Like I could miss out on something. There were a lot of rebels when our industry went digital.
Right.
There were a lot of rebels that dug their heels in, and probably that was a mistake.
In hindsight.
But they believed, that. But, if you don't embrace, some people could say, well, if you don't embrace digital marketing, you're not going to make it. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you may have a really set business or town or area or market or whatever it is that you don't have to do digital marketing. I believe it's very important, but it may not be. So there's no right or wrong answers, and these aren't good or bad. These aren't good or bad factors, or just tendencies in human beings. It's just we all kind of have them in different ways. But you have to identify where you are with that. So when I'm talking about technology, I know what I am. I'm an obliger. Just tell me what to do.
Right.
When I'm talking about business, the business of photography, I'm going to kind of borderline between the questioner and the rebel, depending on what the thought patterns or advice or things are. And, it's like this is a great example. You get a lot of people believe, you have to pre-touch or edit or retouch, whatever you want to call it, your images before you show them to your client. I'm a pretty confirmed rebel on that. Right now, it's not an issue for me. I'm not having resistance in the sales room. My sales are not suffering. So I'm pretty confirmed in my beliefs on that.
Yeah. I used to be the opposite. And then one day I just thought, I'm killing myself doing this. You know what I mean? And for the same money. So it just became obvious to me. And so I made it a habit to stop doing that and to, find other ways to show. So yeah, I hear you on that.
And on the other hand, there's probably some people that are absolutely dead set that they have to do it. So there's no wrong
answer. There's none,
yeah. Mm-mm. But, if for time's sake, if for your family's sake, if for your own sanity's sake, or your time per hour and that what you're earning sake, you decide that I'll consider this and I'll question it, and maybe this is a new habit I can adopt or I can implement, that may be a really great choice, whatever that is. Off-camera flash or, working in a studio, learning to be a studio photographer. If you're always environmental, maybe adding that to your product lines, because you see all these great photographers like you and so many out there that are doing these amazing headshot business. Well, you kind of have to understand how to work in a studio space or in at least an environment, indoor space for a lot of headshots. I mean, not all, obviously, but these are all habits that we can create. And Gretchen's book, it does talk mostly about health, fitness, that type of thing, but I think it's incredibly applicable to our small businesses. And I think if we looked at these things that we want to do, we listen to these webinars, we go to conventions, we do all these things, and we hear all these ideas, but we don't implement them. Maybe if we looked at them as creating habits or breaking bad ones, or not great ones, if you don't want to use the word bad, that we'd be more successful. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of asking because I feel like I'm all over the place, but I'm asking the question because I think it's something that we don't think of habits of being about our business or our
No, we don't. And you know what, talking about it in this way makes me feel actually a lot more successful about creating good habits, because there are habits that are more traditional habits, like health habits, that I have failed. For example, I was trying to make it this practice that when I wake up in the morning that I drink a full glass of water. And it seems like a pretty basic, you know what I mean? But I wake up feeling very dehydrated in the morning. Yeah. And so I try and wake up in the morning, and before I have coffee or anything like, eat or anything, I try to have a full glass of water. I was pretty good at it, and I do it when I think of it, but I wouldn't call it a successful habit. You know what I mean? If I walk into the kitchen immediately and I go, oh, right, I need to drink a glass of water. Right. But I wouldn't say that it's my impulse yet. You know what I mean? Like, I need it to be my impulse. I need it to be a habit.
Do you know how you can make it more of an impulse? And this is with anything, but so the glass of water, that's a really great example. Mm-hmm. So, but if you always have a bottle of water, before you go to bed at night, you put a bottle of water, a reusable bottle, a glass, whatever, by your toothbrush, then you're pairing it. So when you can pair something that you want to do, then sometimes you're more likely to do it. And you're creating a convenience. You're going to brush your teeth in the morning, I'm assuming. I'm not getting personal, but I'm just assuming that's already a habit. You don't have to even decide to brush your teeth.
Right.
You just brush your teeth.
You just brush your teeth in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you add your water glass to that habit, it's easier to create that new habit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And so because I brush my teeth after I eat breakfast, that's how I do it. At home anyway. I could put
but you can drink your water after breakfast.
I could, or I could put my glass of water. I could put a cup by the coffee maker.
Now there you go.
Because I head directly to the coffee maker.
Okay. I don't drink coffee, but that's what you're you know what's going to work for you. She says there's 4 strategies to help you develop better habits. So let's go through them: monitoring, scheduling, accountability, and having a great foundation. And this is all really easy stuff. Monitoring just means you're monitoring that progress. So, for example, if you really want to understand the amount of time you're spending on images, meaning you really want to know what you're making per hour. So you want to know how long it takes you to photograph it, edit all those images. Usually what we do is you go, well, probably about, 2 hours. 3. We always come up with these numbers. Right. It's just like, how many steps do you think you took today? Probably 25,000. Right. And then you look at your watch and you're like, well, heck, that's
25,000.
25. Solid 25 steps.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that when you monitor it, and you need to keep a log or some type of a timeline, so you have a realistic snapshot of exactly how long it's taking, your progress, or whatever. I think when I do my coaching, I will work with, and I'll say, all right, I want you to put a timer by your computer, a timer. I want you to time exactly how long you're spending pre-touching or editing those unsold images. Right. They always are like, maybe an hour tops. They're always shocked when they stop that timer and realize the amount of time they really are putting into it. Yeah. That's still not a commentary whether that's right or wrong. It's just, I want to be realistic that you're not making $20 an hour because you need to add that in. Now you're making $12 an hour, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real eye opener, I think, when you really break things down. If you look at your price list, this is also monitoring. Looking at your price list and understanding exactly what it's costing you to deliver that wedding album, senior portrait, whatever. Because when you break down all the time and the bags and the credit card processing and the this and the that, when you really write it all down, sometimes it's shocking how much it actually costs, especially when you include your time. Okay.
Okay.
So monitoring, that's important. Monitoring.
That is important. All right.
So like, you probably know because you've been doing this for so long, but when you were talking about when you introduced your quick takes this year, a really good practice to gauge the success of it would have been to monitor the progress. You monitored how many you booked, what your averages were. And, that's monitoring. That's a way when we launch a new product line or something new in our studio, we have to monitor it to understand if it's successful or not.
Okay. All right. Well,
right?
Okay. So that makes sense. I can do that. These are things I can do.
Okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm at, and it is. But I think sometimes we overlook the monitoring part because it takes more time and energy, or we don't want to know the truth, maybe, because it's sometimes, like I said, it can be eye opening. But on the other hand, it can also be, and in your case with your Christmas mini sessions last year, our holiday mini sessions, when I was like, no, you need to add in the session fee. You were like, wow, these are really profitable. I'm spending 35 minutes. I did it. That was a really great thing. So monitoring is a very positive thing. And sometimes it's pleasant. It's a pleasant result. Scheduling is obvious. I mean, I'm a big fan of planning and scheduling, but if you want to be better and more intentional in your business, you need to schedule times to work on your business. Now we have a lot of time to work on our business, but write it down, this day of the week, from this time to this time, I'm just going to concentrate on getting that new wedding price list done, or that lookbook done, or updating my website, or a blog post. Put it on your calendar. We're a lot less likely to blow things off or avoid them if they're written down. And we are, it's on our schedule, or at least I am.
So if I can tangent off on that one for a second, who is it? I just saw her, on one of the panels we were on, she kept saying noodling. So we're going to noodle this one. So,
I like it.
Right now, given the situation that a lot of us who maybe weren't working from home are working from home, it feels a little bit like everything is up on its end. So, I think it's still important, like what you're saying right now. This is even more important now to start scheduling days. Because in the studio before, I had days that were scheduled specifically for headshots. I had days that were scheduled, one day a week specifically scheduled for admin things. But now I think we need to even be more vigilant with scheduling our time, especially if you're homeschooling your kids. You need to make sure that you're actually blocking off hours of the day to do a specific task. Yes. Because I think what's going to happen is, I know it can happen for me, is that there's going to be so many tangents to go off on that maybe even with all this time that you're not actually getting anything done. Yeah. So I think now more than ever, that's a great thing to remember from this, is to create the habit of scheduling, right?
I agree. And, you're exactly right. And now more than ever, because if you have a partner in the house that you guys, now I need these 2 hours to work on my business, and then we'll trade off. Or if you have a kiddo that you can say, okay, it's iPad time, and you can, give them a little digital, vacation, so you can take that time and work on our business. Because especially those that are at homes right now, like you said, that are trying to homeschool and balance all that, I feel for you.
Well, and it wouldn't just apply to I think the whole family kind of needs to have it. We've started kind of trying to enact a schedule because Kevin still needs to work, obviously. And we have Lucy all day long. We don't have any childcare, and we can't get any help, obviously, because we're social distancing, you know what I mean? So, we're all scheduling and if there are iPad blocks of time, then be okay with it. Cut yourself some slack, because you need to get some work done too.
I agree. It was funny. My kids have been on spring break, but yesterday was our first day back, and they had online school, online work. I had my work. We were all in our own little compartments, and we worked. And then the work day was done, and we made dinner, and we talked, then. But we, we have trying to keep a schedule and as much normalcy as possible. And I know that's not completely doable, especially if you're trying to homeschool and juggle all that. But you've got to carve out time in your day to focus on your business, because just because we're social distancing doesn't mean we're out of business yet.
Well, that and also I think that makes me think about, we still have weekends. Yes. You know what I mean? Just because you're home every day doesn't mean that you need to stick to this strict, business, working, homeschooling, whatever it is you have to do to get through the day, give yourself a weekend, schedule your weekend.
No, you're right. And maybe your weekend is different now. I don't know what that is, but I'm really glad that I've scheduled and doing these podcasts or webinars, and because it makes me get up, get dressed, and brush my hair, and because I really could fall into a real a negative place and just.
So you want to hear what's funny about that is when I got the phone call today from the news station that was like, "Hi, so we heard about this thing and we want to come and interview you," and I was like, "Now."
Dang.
Give me 30 minutes. And I was in my pajamas at 11:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? So giving yourself things and reasons to get dressed in the morning to carry out your day. I think we've all been sort of like enjoying pajama pants with pockets for a while, but like I need to get back to wearing clothes.
Mm-hmm. That button.
Although I can recommend this onesie on Amazon. If anyone is interested, I will share the link because I have 3 of them and they're $25. And basically it's just the most comfortable thing ever. And you still sort of feel dressed.
Yeah, and it's cute. No, it's super cute.
And it's cute.
Well, it kind of brings us to another one of her points, and it's accountability. And accountability is a huge motivator. This is why we try to pay our bills on time, to avoid those late charges. This is why, kids try to do better in school, to get good grades. All of those are accountability. And I don't think we always think of them as accountability, but they are accountability. Maybe you get a group or a person that you're like, we're going to FaceTime at least twice a week, and I have to at least have gotten up, put on clothes and pants at button, and look like a presentable human being.
Yep.
And maybe that's all you can manage right now. But accountability is huge, I think, for goal setting. I'm very lucky that I have such amazing friends in this industry. I have you, we have our friends, on the board. We all hold each other accountable to getting things done and motivate each other. Mm-hmm. Or a mastermind group, or maybe your local affiliate, you could start something. But accountability is huge. And I think it because nobody wants to feel ashamed. So accountability works really well. And
that makes me think more about the community that we have here. So yeah, if you're not communicating with other people in your industry right now, really reach out, form a little group, form a little tribe, get some set yourself some meetings where you guys can get on Zoom and really have that, like, mastermind, if you want to call it that, that's what you and I do, but like, just groups to hold each other, like we're going to stick to a schedule. We're going to work on our marketing today. Like we're going to be ready for when we bounce through all this.
And sometimes just verbalizing it, sometimes just saying it out loud is enough to hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. Like if I say to you, I really want to this, then you being the kind of person and the friend you are, you're going to try to motivate me to accomplish that. So sometimes it's as simple as just owning it and saying it, but having those accountability options, I think, are huge. Also accountability with our clients, and when we make a transaction with our clients, we are telling them we're going to give them the best possible customer service, client service that we can. Mm-hmm. And, we want that payoff, which is maybe that 5-star Google review, or, them smiling, or the tears when they, deliver the order. But that's accountability. Mm-hmm. And, so we do that every day in our studio. We need to do that more with our business and our, and ourselves. And I think that's where he falls short. And then the last one is just having a good foundation. A foundation is the underlying base or principle that everything is built on. I think in order to have really great business habits, and maybe, your creative and art habits, it helps if you've got a great foundation of self habits. Mm-hmm. So, practicing self-discipline, self-love and care, those different things, those habits, if you've kind of already mastered those or worked on those, it's going to be easier to add these other ones into your life, mm-hmm. Because if you're coming from a place of despair or, or depression or whatever, which we all, or I can't speak for everybody. I know I can and will go there at times. It's harder for me to stay on track with my goals and keeping those negative things out of my life. So I need to work on myself to build a great foundation for these other things.
Yeah. And so I've been trying, before this happened, I've been trying to do that stuff, check in with myself, give myself some, I started seeing an online therapist in November, just to kind of help me, nothing was terribly wrong, but just to sort of like help me deal with some anxiety and things like that. I think a lot of us are going through that right now. I highly recommend. I mean, now if you want to get a therapist, you can get a therapist online. Yes. And in fact, I think their business might be booming. But I use BetterHelp.com if anyone is interested in looking into that. But maybe don't broadcast when you're getting your self-care. Example. I don't know if anyone follows Madonna on Instagram.
But I actually don't. Yeah,
Madonna had, I think, some well-intentioned self-care and, trying to bestow wisdom on everybody. But she was basically giving a very heavy speech about the state of things and what we need to do and everything, which I was on board with. But she was doing it from her very luxurious marble bathtub. Like she was in a full bath with rose petals.
Wow.
Complete with like a milk bath.
Yeah.
Rose petals, like the whole thing. You can see like the marble of the bathtub. And so, self-care. Don't go crazy posting all those things online. I don't care if you were Madonna. Like, don't do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Self-care, I think it should be, it's incredibly personal. And yeah, it's great to say, I think, talking to a therapist, is a great thing and I highly recommend it. That's one thing. But then when you constantly are talking about it or posting about it or, then it just feels kind of not as authentic.
It almost feels a little bit like, and I've talked about this before, a little bit like crowdsourcing sympathy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not, there's different levels of that, obviously, and there are times where when you post things like that, because you really are seeking some love and some support and that sort of thing, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you guys that I see a therapist because there's nothing to be worried about there, but I don't after every call get on Facebook and be like, just saw my therapist. She said some amazing things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that, but, because it's all very personal.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And there again, nothing to be ashamed of. But I mean, I think when things are a personal journey, I don't know. For me, those are things I don't know. I would share if I thought it would help somebody. But if it's just self-promotion or for attention, then I think it just becomes, then you're kind of defeating the entire purpose of
That's not good. That's not good brand awareness. That's not good brand awareness. All of these things we've talked about are for good brand awareness. That might not be one of them.
You're exactly you're exactly right. She also talks about some of the things that will help you to increase the likelihood of you maintaining the habits or breaking the ones. Because when you adjust the amount of energy it takes to maintain it, it just makes it much more attainable. It makes it easier. When things take a lot of energy, it just gets really hard because let's just face it, whether it's right now where we have gift of time and I love that. And now I'm starting to really hate it because I'm like, well, where's all this time? Because I'm not getting, I feel like I should be way more productive. And I'm like, well,
I actually ran out of time today. Yeah.
Plumb out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just, I don't know, just try to make them easy. And some things that, this is what I loved. She said, she talks about abstaining. I am not a fan of, if you're abstaining for something because you're really good at it, it's easy and it's not bothering you, great. But sometimes I think a habit you're trying to break or whatever in moderation is okay. And don't beat yourself up over it. And you know what? If you slip or you indulge for, a minute, just get up the next minute, the next day, whatever, and move on. Don't think that it takes away from all the progress and all the energy you put into it. And I really struggle because I think I'm really guilty of this. I'll slip on something and then I'll say, well, I'm just a loser and that's it. And I'm an idiot and I'm not even going to bother. Don't bother. Well, that I don't do well with abstaining. That's just something I shouldn't do. I should give myself the space that if it absolutely, whatever it is, whether it's eating better or trying to, be more diligent in my business and stick to my schedule. And one day I just get up and I'm just tired and I don't want to follow my schedule that day. That's okay.
Right.
That's okay. That the world's not ending. So I think that that's something to be aware of. And it depends on you. I mean, convenience is key. Mm-hmm. So that's what we were talking about, the glass of water,
mm-hmm.
Making it convenient and easy or pairing it with something I think makes habits easier to create, or break. Convenience for me might be, if I think about profit first, and this will draw in two of her examples, because convenience and safeguards. So for profit first, as you guys know when I talked about it, or if you don't, that's fine. I keep 5 different bank accounts, and one is a tax account and one's a profit account. I choose to safeguard that money by not only scheduling on the calendar when I transfer the percentages, but those are in a bank that I do not have the app on my phone. That's a safeguard. But it's the convenience piece is it just, I transfer it right over and it's a done deal and it's out of sight, out of mind. So, there's a lot of reasons why I do that. If I have an app on my phone, I will check my bank balance, and then that's how we will gauge where we are with our business, or where we are. We check book balance a lot of times in the small businesses. So moving that money is a really great way for me to safeguard against spending it, number one. But, the convenience factor is that I just schedule it, do it all online, and it makes it an easy process for me.
There you go.
But that's how I created those habits. I don't know what other examples of that maybe you can think of or whatever in our business, but
yeah, well, okay. So, I've made some safeguards for myself when I follow up with clients. So I have, I have on Google, it has like that nudge reminder. I have that set so basically if I haven't responded to somebody, like somebody has left an email open to me, it pops back up and it lets me know. That like, hey, this was from 4 days ago. Do you want to follow up on that?
No, that's a good one. Yeah. And that actually helps me a lot, because I will sometimes get buried in emails and it'll say, hey, it's been 3 days. Do you want, I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you, Google. I should have done that. And I feel bad. That's a convenience factor. Another convenience factor, and this is something personal, but if you've decided you want to, enter an image competition, keep a folder on your desktop or on your laptop or whatever. And every time you photograph something and you really, really love it, have that folder conveniently located that you just copy it right in there. So when you go to enter image competition, you've got all those images already in there, and it's a very convenient, easy way for you to do that. So, there's all these little things we can do, but you make them convenient, but get the safeguards in there. Try to keep the distractions out. I know personally that when I'm with a client, I do not have my phone with me. I do not have the studio phone ringing. I don't have a computer up or running. It's me just engaging and being with that client. Now, I do wear an Apple Watch, so if there's an emergency and I got a text from my husband or my children or my mom, I could glance at that text. But I'm not going to be either hearing the phone ringing and thinking I'm missing something, or it interrupting.
Did you know, and you probably do because you're good with your Apple stuff, but if you there's a setting on Do Not Disturb, or that will only let the people, like approved people on your favorites list come through, right? And so that's what you're talking about, right? Like you can do that so that it mutes everything else. Right.
I think there's a way now, and I know there is, and I didn't even know it. It happened by accident. But if you put something on your calendar, when that time comes up, it'll say you have, and it happened to me. I had a reservation. It says your reservation at XYZ is starting. Would you like to put your Do Not Disturb on for the next hour or hour and a half? So you can actually make your phone remind you to just shut that out, because when our clients are in there, we should just be engaging with our clients. Or alternatively, if it's your 2-hour block of time to work on your marketing or work on your business, don't be checking. Don't just wander.
Yeah, put on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, because we get binged and pinged and alerts non-stop. Well, I don't know how you can fully focus on your marketing plan or a piece of collateral or whatever it is you're working on if you're constantly getting.
I can tell you can't, because that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, what did Jim Quick say? Or was Jim?
You can't multitask.
That's right. We're not multitaskers. As human beings, that's really not what we do. And the last is treats. That's self-explanatory, but celebrate those small wins, large wins, whatever. But reward yourself. Maybe it's I've done a really great. Yeah, don't go into this trap. Well, I deserve it, because that's when I think we make mistakes. But,
like
maybe
the 3 cookies that I ate last night because I pressure washed all day. And I was like, well, I mean, I pressure washed
but
all
you
day.
did work really hard.
I
You
did.
did deserve
I felt
it.
like I deserved it.
See, we just did it. But, you hit this goal. You hit a sales goal. You have your biggest sale. Whatever it is, celebrate it. Maybe you're going to have a night out to dinner or, do something special. I think those things are important. And anyway, I just thought this book was kind of timely. I hope I didn't bore everybody to tears.
No, I think it's very applicable to right now for sure.
But think about habits in our business. And maybe, just start by writing some things down that you want to do or things you want to stop doing, and then figure out how you can create habits and use some of these key points to make it happen. I don't know.
I love it. And I love that maybe I have the Cliff Notes now.
I will post them to the blog tonight or in the morning,
okay.
And so everybody has it. And it's a great book. It's an easy read, but I think I kind of hit the bullet points for you guys. So hopefully it'll be helpful.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, I was going to say, you got anything to talk about? You going to be up? No. Not going to be anywhere soon because, as we know, like Texas school got rescheduled, right? So that's, but it's still happening in the fall, and you guys will still be there. I think the next thing that I have going on is I just signed on today to be an instructor at Florida Photography Workshops, formerly called Florida School, which hopefully, everything willing, we will be having in June. So I'm signed up to do a 2-day there, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure if it doesn't get to happen, it'll get rescheduled. So,
of course. On the other side of it, I think we're trending that way. We're what did they say? 2 weeks behind Italy, I think. Mm-hmm. So if you trend that way, we're looking probably May. Things will start shifting, and again, I think we'll come out of it fast. It's just sitting in this valley of this V that we're in right now that really stinks, and there's no other way around it. It just stinks, and we're all trying to find things to do. But keep working on ourselves, working on our businesses, and try to stay as positive as possible.
And keep talking to people, because honestly, I had coffee with one of my girlfriends this morning, and we realized that we haven't hung out in a really long time, but here we are, like, having coffee. You know what I mean? If anything, I kind of think I'm talking a lot more with old friends, and you know what I mean? Like 100%. Like, it's just like I'm just communicating with all these people I hadn't seen in person in a really long time.
Yeah, I heard somebody today say that, well, you did that happy hour with all your girlfriends last week.
I did.
And then I heard somebody today say that they hopped online and they were playing a board game. They all had the same board game, and so they all had to move, whatever, but they were playing a board game. And so we're being creative with this time, but I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I don't think I'll do that, but that's kind of cool. Maybe that could be something worth doing. Rickie's telling me that it's time for me to go, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's wrap this shizness up. Okay. I'm breathing. Okay. Follow us on Instagram at Get Your Shoot Together. Follow us on Facebook at Get Your Shoot Together. You guys can still email us at girl@getyourshoottogether.com, and you can subscribe to us on all the places where you can have podcasts. And now you can actually watch us on YouTube, as we'll be uploading these lives as we do them. So we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, y'all.
All right. Bye, everyone watching in Facebook Live land.
Thanks for joining us.